point you need to go.
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Board of Selectmen's meeting of November 20th, 2018. The board went into executive session as to come out, and we're ready to go. We've already done roll call, et cetera, so we'll do Pledge of Allegiance. Mr. Sanelli, would you like to do that for us?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'm going to move things a little bit out of order because of the late start tonight. Let's do the Veterans Council appointment.
Okay.
Get people waiting to get them done.
Yep, appointment. We've got Veterans Council. Okay, Gene Sarnelli. Want to come down, please? We appreciate you volunteer. Is there anything you want to tell us?
I don't think there's too much new, but we
Okay.
just recently had the Veterans Day ceremony. Very good attendance, and we got a lot of good feedback. So
Okay.
we're very encouraged that people are recognizing us again, and especially since the wall. Very proud of my husband and the rest of the council. Everybody worked really hard.
Okay. I move that we appoint Gene Sarnelli to the Wareham Veterans Council for a term to expire no later than June 30th, 2020.
Second.
Motion by Patrick, second by Tony. Any questions? None heard, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 500.
Thank you for
Pick up your
serving.
paperwork tomorrow at the Selectmen's office.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Next, you want to, we got 1 minute before the dog hearing. You want to?
Let's go a few things. We can wait a few minutes.
All right, let's do the application for transfer of existing year-round package store license. Let's do that, come on down. This is the transfer from Ginchas Company Limited, the Jug Shop, manager, to Wareham, Main Street to DJP Liquor Corporation, DBA The Jump Shop. And that's Jan R. Banta?
Jenna, why don't you come up too?
Come on down. Manager.
Grab a chair right there.
All right, so this requires a public hearing, right? Does it not?
Not a transfer.
No, it's a transfer.
No, it's just a transfer, right?
Yeah.
Okay, good. All right. So,
Hey, good evening. My name is Matthew Porter. I'm the attorney for the applicant, DJP Liquor Corp. With me here is Dipin Kumar Patel, who's the 100% shareholder of the corporation, president and treasurer secretary. This is a very straightforward transfer. This relates to the sale of the Jug Shop, 219 Main Street. Mr. Patel has been operating in the liquor industry for the last almost 6 years now. Has a wealth of experience, certainly understands the importance and the responsibilities that come along with operating a license, actually operated in the town of Wareham. So, even more specifically knows, what's expected of him here. He's tip certified. Our manager, Jana Bana, also tip certified. Our lease is in place. Our financing is in order. I can certainly answer any questions that the board may have, and Dip and Ken as well.
Tony,
All set.
Mary?
I have no questions.
nothing.
Nothing.
All right,
Ivy.
go ahead. Oh, okay.
Question for you. On the, we heard about this originally. This is going to stay in this location? You're locked in with a lease, I believe?
We are on a lease. Yep. So we're under a lease, I think, there's an option associated with it, but it's about 10 years total with the option periods. So,
Okay.
yeah, we'll be staying at that location. So nothing's changed as far as the business is concerned.
Already. And you already operate another liquor store in Wareham?
So he manages a store for his uncle. So this would be
Same
his.
ownership, though?
What's that?
No.
Different ownership.
Different ownership?
No. So his uncle owns a store, and Dippin's been the manager of that location and has an opportunity to purchase his own store. So separate ownership entirely. Yep.
They're just splitting up family. ABCC rules as well.
That's it.
Just for the record, the store the uncle owns is the Wareham Liquors that's in the CVS Plaza.
That's correct.
And they've always been fairly compliant and helpful when I've asked for them to not sell to certain people.
I'll also make a comment that we've had severe issues on Main Street as well, other areas in towns with miniatures, which is called nips, et cetera.
Sure.
We would expect that the person running the business keeps their area clean front and back.
I always pick it up nips in the morning, you know?
I understand, but if you go into the CVS parking lot area, they're all over the
Landlord,
place.
I mean,
I know what the landlord problem is, but I'm just letting you know, because we will be, come Springtown meeting, probably bringing an article forward on this issue. Mr. Bowen?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If I could direct a question to the applicant, would the applicant be willing to voluntarily relinquish the sale of nips as a license condition?
No, we wouldn't do that. No, we've been asked that question in other towns as well. I think most recently in Chelsea, they asked the same question of us. So no, I don't think we'd voluntarily be able to do that. I mean, certainly we'll work with the town to make sure that, we take care of that trash and littering as best as possible, but we wouldn't want to make it a condition of this license, certainly.
Is that an issue you'd be willing to take an appeal on?
Say that again?
Is that an issue you'd be willing to take an appeal on?
Take an appeal on in what sense? That you would make this transfer conditioned upon that?
Well, I wouldn't. I'm just the attorney.
Well, I guess, I suppose that I would just state that it's not really an issue that's before the board tonight, so certainly we just want to move forward on our transfer.
Well, unfortunately, the city of Boston, and I believe one of the other cities, has recently put a ban on any new license, so you may squeeze through.
Yeah, well, yeah.
And the Attorney General's held that up as well. Just
Well, the license is existing, so I'm not sure we're in the same position as the city of Boston with new licenses.
well, it's still
So-
considered a transfer change, but I won't get into it. We'll fix it later.
All right, you ready?
Go ahead.
All right, so I would like to make a condition that we remove the penalty that we placed on the jug shop
It's a second,
previously.
it's a second item.
Well, we can just
Yeah, we
do
have
it
that
all-
as-
We can do it all in the same thing, right?
No, do this first, then
All
we'll do
right,
the second.
okay.
Because I
It's
don't
just
want to
as
remove
easy
that.
to-
Yeah, I don't think discipline against somebody else can be
Wanted
the
to
subject
know.
of a transfer
Just trying to
approval.
make it so that they understand that we're gonna do that. you know.
We've got everybody up here, so I think they
We haven't
know.
voted yet, so,
Go ahead.
you know what I mean? So we're gonna vote this, and then all of a sudden we said no, it would be a
No.
problem.
Yeah, everybody's at the party, so I wouldn't worry.
You already told them.
Okay. I move that we transfer the license from Gentchas Company LTD to GJP Liquors Corporation under Chapter 138 of the Massachusetts General Laws for an all-alcoholic beverage package store license.
Second.
Motion by Patrick, second by Tony. Any questions from the board?
No.
None heard, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 500.
All right, so let's keep
Sure,
up the
that
next
piece.
section then.
This will
Okay.
go up to the ABCC, it usually takes 30 days if they're, now the ownership of the package store changes when?
So only upon this, yeah. So obviously the ABCC, once they approve it, they'll send it back to the town, and then once you guys issue that license, we'd take over the store.
Okay, so I would make a motion to remove the previous penalty against Juntus Company LTD, DBA The Jug Shop, so that it doesn't have to be served by DJP Liquors Corporation.
To that motion, I would add contingent upon the appellant notifying the ABCC of their intention to drop the appeal.
Absolutely.
Good evening, Gregory Longo on behalf of the Jug Shop. I will send a letter out first thing Monday morning to the ABCC, letting them know that we will withdraw that appeal pending the approval.
Thank you, because I was the selectman who was going to be stuck going to that.
Oh.
So we have a motion.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. I'm going to make a comment, nobody's going to be happy, but my concern is that if the existing owner who has that 30-day suspension coming up in a fairly short period of time does not have the transfer of ownership, I would think that we'd want to have the suspension in place until the ownership changes.
Well, but it's subject to him filing,
Don't start.
to releasing the appeal, so it won't,
I understand that.
so
They can
it,
release the appeal, but the bottom line is that
well, it wouldn't take place unless he,
Right.
if he decided to not go forward with his appeal, then it's over anyway. You know, it's up to us, then it's our penalty, and we just decided not to have it. Why don't you ask counsel? See what he's...
Go ahead, Rich.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I think if council goes ahead and sends that letter up, the ABCC will put it in the file drawer. Now, this is all assuming that the ABCC approves the transfer application, which it most likely will.
Yeah,
Transfer of
sure.
ownership, it's mostly just whether you have the paperwork filled out properly. So if for some reason, though, there was an issue, you know, an undisclosed interest or one of those other sorts of things that are on the application, something like that came out, then what would happen is it wouldn't be transferred. You'd still have a penalty potentially out there, which the board could reimpose and council could reappeal. So I don't think that would be a
Well, the motion
real
didn't
issue.
remove the penalty from them. All I made the motion was, is that they don't have to serve the penalty.
Yeah.
So if in fact they take ownership, then they don't have to serve the penalty. So I didn't actually remove the motion.
Well, I guess
That's not my concern.
what we would do is we would probably just come back through, I'll call it gentleman's agreement or gentle person's agreements, just work it out so that there's still a penalty, you still have your right to appeal. But I don't think we'll ever get to that point.
And however the board would like me to do it, if you would like me to put that language in my letter to the ABCC, I'd be happy to do so, essentially saying, should the transfer not go through, the board reserves their right to reimpose a suspension, and we would reserve our right to then appeal that suspension. Should that take place, I can certainly include that language in the letter, so everybody's on the same page, if that's okay with council and the selectmen.
My comment will be simply that the person with 2 violations skates with nothing. And don't even ask me, I'm just telling, that's my personal opinion. The penalty that we imposed goes away with no financial, consequences at all, that's all.
Okay.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 I'm going to oppose it. 4-1-0.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ken.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good luck
Now you,
with your new location and new business.
Yeah, Cheryl's.
or you want to do some of these other things? Do the certificate for the pastor, is he?
No, he's not here, he's not back home till Thursday.
Okay, so we don't have to do that one, all right.
Actually, if you want, we can do very quickly, and then we'll get to Cheryl, the school.
Okay.
Just have that CPC
Yeah,
request.
let's do that, okay.
We're going to do the school department now, just to get you guys out, because it'll take about 2 minutes.
Where's Pastor Sean? Come on down.
He's away till Thursday. They didn't tell us. He was
Hello.
away for
Okay.
Smiling, I see,
December.
as you should be.
Yes.
It was it's nice to see that we had so many people show up, though, 8,000 people, and they made a good decision, so
They did.
it went very well.
Good for the school, good for everyone.
Well, it's good for the community as a whole,
It is,
you
yes,
know, so.
Change in process.
yes.
Per the selectmen's policies, when any town department basically wants to use CPA funding, they have to come before the Board of Selectmen and also the Finance Committee to get approval to make sure that they're asking for it doesn't put an undue strain financially on the town or have any adverse pieces there. So I believe this is asking for simply it's for the track.
Anderson Field Track Resurfacing, Storage and Fence Project, it's called.
I don't think you really need to say anything. It's pretty simple. Does the board have any questions about what they're doing? They're just restoring the track, and they're looking for CPA funding for it, which falls under recreation.
How much would the grant request be?
$225.
Okay.
So let us introduce Chris Gardner. He is the track coach at the high school as well as a teacher. Well, he can speak for himself, but he's the one that's done the work on this application.
Yes, and so as you pointed out, it would be for $225,000. There might be some other quotes might boost that up, but obviously be going for the lower of those quotes, but it's still kind of gaining a couple more in.
The track was done once before, the CPA funds, with a stipulation of proper maintenance and upkeep, et cetera. When you go before the CPA the second time, you're going to have a better program in place to get those funds, just so you know.
Yes, I'm aware of that.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm just giving you a heads up.
Okay, I move we approve the seeking of the grant, the community preservation grant by the school department for the project named Anderson Field Track Resurfacing, Storage, and Fence Project.
Second.
Motion by Patrick, second by Peter. Any questions from the board? None heard, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 500. I think you may have to ask the Finance Committee to meet, because I don't think they're planning to meet till the beginning of the year.
Beginning of
Okay, we will. And I just want to thank the board for all your support in the recent election. We certainly appreciate all your help.
I also want to make a comment that the school committee and the different clubs and everything else did a great job of getting people to come to town meeting, and we thank you for that.
It was a
Yep.
great group effort, yes.
Yeah, you guys all deserve more than any of us. I mean, you were on the bottom line, and you did a terrific job, and you got the message out, and you know, this is what happens when real information gets out to the public. They realize, you know, they make good decisions, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
Thank you very
Yes,
much.
thanks.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
All right, now what do you want to do? What do you want to do now?
Let's do the dog hearing now.
Okay. All right, dog hearing. All right. We have a public hearing on, let me get it out here. In accordance with the provisions of Chapter 140, Section 157, the Massachusetts General Laws, you're hereby notified that a public hearing will be held before the Board of Selectmen on Tuesday, November 20th, 2018, at 7:30 regarding a dog owned or kept by you. And that is Roan, how do you say Roan?
It's Ronnie. He's not here, it's my husband.
Ryan Ferguson. Please find attached a complaint, a copy of the letter, we'll get to that. And it's to happen in the multi-service center. I move that we open the public hearing.
Second.
You just want to sign it. I'm afraid so. Sorry.
Public hearing. I made the motion.
Need a roll call?
Second.
Roll call is Tony,
Yes.
Mary,
Yes.
Patrick,
Yes.
Peter.
Yes.
Alan.
Okay. All right, Cheryl, lead us on.
Sworn in.
Oh, you gotta swear. Could, everybody who's gonna testify, please stand, and counsel will swear you in. That's everyone. Is there anybody else here coming to give?
My husband's coming, but he's not here yet.
All right, we'll have to swear him
We'll
when he
swear him in
comes.
when he gets here.
Please raise your right hand. Do you swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you. You may be seated.
He loves to do that.
We're going to let Peter.
Go ahead, Peter.
Okay, you've read in the notice, we'll have the animal control officer read into the record her complaint.
The reason that we're here today is because we've had numerous issues with the dogs that are owned by the people that we are here to see. I'm sorry, I have never met his wife. What was your name? Michelle. Michelle. The dogs are not licensed, so I don't have any record of ownership, so that's why I wasn't sure what her name was. They have been cited twice for unlicensed, loose, unvaccinated dogs. They've paid neither citation. On 9/23/2018, two of the officers from our department were called out by the Wareham Police Department for two loose American Stafford Terriers traveling on Cranberry Highway towards Chile. When the officers arrived on location, the dogs were extremely reported. I was not one of the officers. Reported to be aggressive, growling, and lunging at the officers. The dogs were subsequently captured and transferred to the Lakeville Animal Shelter on that day. On 10/6/2018 at 1:30 p.m., we were dispatched again for a report of two loose dogs. We checked to the area, we were unable to locate them. At 10 p.m. on the same day, 10/6, one of our officers was contacted about the two dogs that had been seen earlier, and he contacted Mr. Ferguson, who did say that they were his dogs. They'd been missing all day. He was trying to find them, and he did go and retrieve the dogs. So from 1:30 p.m. to 10 p.m., those dogs were loose. On 10/7, we were contacted by a subject who reported that the dogs had damaged her rabbit hutch on 10/6 when they were loose. This was reported by a Mrs. Scott, who is not here at this time. On 10:10 at 3:40 p.m., we received a call of 2 loose dogs again. This time, the report was at 14 Depot Street by a Melissa Cherbuck that the dogs had attacked our chickens and wounded one. The officers went to the location of the believed dog owner. When they arrived at the location, they found the front door of the home to be ajar and the 2 dogs to be sitting on the front porch without leashes. They called repeatedly, nobody appeared to be home, and the officers secured the dogs at the location. We've had several other calls about these same 2 dogs on 10/11. The dogs were found loose again and transported to the Lakeville Animal Shelter. So we've had them showing aggression to our officers, we've had them attack and wound a chicken, and so we are requesting that the dogs be deemed dangerous and some safety precautions are put in place.
Okay, any questions for the animal control officer at this point?
No.
What's your do you have recommendations for the safety?
Yes, sir, I do. And at this point, the dog owners have shown that they have not been responsible. They've not secured the dogs. They've not licensed the dogs. They've not proven vaccination, nor have they paid the citations issued. So that's why we definitely feel strongly that we have to implement safety precautions because we do not have faith in the owners doing such.
Have the dogs been licensed or vaccinated yet?
Both of them are vaccinated. One is licensed to myself, and the other one, when my husband, we are back together now, but when we separated, he had taken the dog, and he took the dog the same year that I licensed my dog. So he never, I don't believe he ever licensed his dog.
Well, just so you know, dog licensing is an annual event. It's not.
Yes.
It's not a 3-year thing with the rabies. It's an annual event.
I licensed my dog last year.
I checked this shortly before I came upstairs, and at the address where the dogs reside are secured and kept, and we've had the incidences. I show 0 dogs licensed at any time in our history.
I can search for the receipt because I licensed them.
At that address?
Mm-hmm. That's my only address, yes.
Okay, because I didn't find
It was only
anything.
one, it was chaos.
Yeah. How long ago was it you licensed the one dog?
I was
March.
pregnant, it was last year, so I think it was like July.
Yeah, that wouldn't carry through past December 31st.
And both citations.
Licenses are annual in the sense they run January 1st to December 31st.
My misunderstanding, sorry, yes.
Okay. So they presently are unlicensed. Other questions from the board for the animal control officer?
No, I don't have any.
Okay, ma'am, we'll hear you. You've heard what the animal control officer has to say. Is there anything you'd like to add to that? Anything you'd like to contradict?
So the day that the chicken was supposedly injured, the dogs, no one was home that day, so I have no idea how the dogs got out, but when I got home, they were in my house with my door closed. So I'm not sure who put them in, because from what I was told from my neighbor was that they were in the house and it wasn't my dogs. And my theory on it was that if the dogs had injured a chicken, that the animal control would have taken the dogs at that time. They wouldn't have put them back in a house with nobody in there, with the door. I just don't believe that. And there was no proof that it was my dogs. As for the other incidences, when they did get loose, one of them, my middle child back there, had left the gate open. That was our fault. And then the other time, we found out the gate was not locking, and we have since fixed the gate. They have not got out since then.
On the date in question with the chickens, I got an Officer Kimball and the Director Buckminster were the officers who responded, who reported that they found the 2 dogs loose, unsecure, on the front porch, that they did put them in the house and secure them in the house. So I do have 2 officers who state that it was her dogs, that they did find the dogs loose. They were now on the owner's property, so we're technically not supposed to remove dogs that are found on the owner's property. That's why they secured them in the house rather than remove them.
Thank you. To you, ma'am, so you do concede that the dogs were out at least, I mean, as I wrote down here, 1, 2, 3, 4 occasions. You do concede that they were loose 2 times?
Yes.
Okay.
Any questions, Tony?
You, Tony?
Mary?
Tony?
The dogs were not leashed and they were on the property but unleashed. They didn't leave the property.
So
I'm trying to,
I was not actually at the location, so I'm going by what the officers told me, but as I've been told and reported to me, that they got a report that the dogs had been loose, that the dogs went after chickens, injured a chicken. When they were checking the area to try and locate the dogs, they went to the residence, see if the owner was there to assist or if the dogs had returned home. It was at that time that the dogs were found on the property, and they secured, no one was home, they were loose in the front, they weren't secured in the yard, and they secured them at the property.
So then the officers were able to approach the front door and either coax the dogs to go further inside or whatever it was, and then close the door so that they were confined to the house?
Correct, and they put a heavy object in front of the door so the dogs couldn't open it again.
Okay. Yeah. Anything else?
What's your recommendation, Cheryl?
Well, I'm looking at the dogs be at the very least deemed at risk. I'd prefer them to be deemed dangerous. I'm looking that the dogs be confined in a securely enclosed locked pen because they have repeatedly escaped from the yard. So I'd like a pen that we approve that is locked that the dogs cannot escape from. If they are removed from the property, they've shown to be aggressive with the chickens at the very least, and with our officers, when they captured them on one occasion, I would like to see the dogs humanely muzzled and restrained with a leash not to exceed 3 feet in length and to only be walked by an adult 18 years or older. I'd like to see proof of licensing, vaccination, and insurance to cover the dogs. And I would like the owners to provide information by which the dogs can be identified through a lifetime. Right now, I do not have any identifying information because I do not have a history of them being licensed. So I need to know all of their information so that we can track them.
Can I have that, please? Sure. All right, so you want to close the public hearing first? So then we'll do 7 minutes.
Well, we'll have to ask, is there anybody here to speak either in support of the dogs or to complain about the dogs? Okay, seeing no one.
I move we close the public hearing.
second.
All right.
We have to vote.
Yes.
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 All right, before I make a motion, I'm concerned that the dogs' fees and so on haven't been paid. So when I make this motion, I would like to add, and I'm going to ask council this, I'd like to add that they pay the fees and stuff forthwith, or they surrender the dogs until the fees are paid. Okay? That they surrender the dogs, we'll send the police to get them. If you don't let the officers in, we'll send the police to pick them up, because this is absurd that this has been going on like this, and you just leave your door of your house open too?
No, it was
Well,
closed.
It was open,
It shouldn't have been
well,
open.
but they found it.
We're outside of that, so.
But that's,
Yeah, but
if you leave the door open, that's how the dogs get
No.
out.
Right, but we can't,
I'm
we're
the
done with the
Air Force. I
hearing
didn't leave
portion,
the
so
door open.
she's,
You can't ask questions.
Calm down.
we'd have to reopen.
All right, so this is what I move the following. I move that the dogs be first deemed dangerous. Second, I move that the dogs be confined in an outdoor secure enclosure or pen approved by the dog officer. When the dog is removed from the premises of the owner shall be securely and humanely muzzled and restrained with a chain or tether device not to exceed 3 feet in length, that the dogs only be walked by an adult 18 years of age or older, that the owner provide proof of insurance coverage for the dogs, that the owner provide a means of identification, that usually means a chip being installed into the dog, that the owner provide the animal control officer with the information for the chip for the life of the dog so that they can control it. I also move that if you don't pay the fees forthwith, that the dogs be removed from the premises and held in custody until the fees and things are paid. Because this is kind of crazy. That's my motion.
Counsel? Yeah. Okay.
Okay? I need a second.
Second.
Any questions from the board? Tony? Mary?
Not a question. I would just say that the issue here is the number of the incidents that's concerning to me.
Exactly.
One time, getting out, maybe biting a chicken, maybe not. We'd be hard pressed to really do too much of anything, but we've got multiple reports of the dogs being loosed, as verified by the animal control officer. Sometimes we come into these hearings and the neighbors pile in and they say, well, I didn't call, but I saw the dog, and that evidence is really not even good evidence. But in this instance, we do have multiple reports made to animal control about the dogs being loose.
Well, the other thing is that that includes paying making sure their fees are paid to the clerk as well.
Yeah.
Any of that has to be done.
Cheryl.
If it's not
I just
done,
want to make sure that it's noted that we have actually moved for criminal application for non-payment of the citation, so I don't know if that affects what he's requesting, or if
No,
she just...
your process for that is separate.
Okay.
this year, you'll have control over the dogs if in fact they don't pay. You've got, once you take them away, people always seem to find a way to pay, It's like, what do they call it at the registry? Non-renewable status?
Yeah, if you don't pay the traffic tickets,
Everybody always comes up
yeah.
with a way to pay in non-renewable. All right.
Question I've got
How
before,
long to comply with that?
that's what I was just going to ask.
Well, I wanted them to apply immediately. If they don't pay, then you remove them. And then and I'm willing to bet that they'll comply pretty quickly.
Do you have a time frame, Cheryl, you want this all in place by? I'll ask that next.
Well, we do have the holiday coming up, and the town hall will be closed where she would have to make payments, so I would say 7 business days would be more than reasonable.
Okay, 7 business days.
Question to the dog owner, can you comply with this?
I can try.
That's not a good answer.
I'm gonna do my best. If not, you can have the dogs, because that's what has to happen.
You understand?
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, we need a vote?
All right, next.
No, need a vote.
What?
Tony?
Oh, we didn't vote? I thought we
Didn't vote. No, we were discussing.
Want to do a roll call vote or regular?
What's
Yeah,
the
do a roll
vote?
call.
Tony?
Yes.
Mary?
Yes.
Patrick?
Yes.
Peter?
Yes.
Alan? 500.
Good luck in complying.
Cheryl, you keep us advised, please? We have another hearing, December 11th, just so you know.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right, I have.
You're on vacation on the 11th?
But Officer Kimball...
Just as long as we have someone here.
Yeah, as long as somebody comes. Okay,
Thank you.
I have a request
thank you.
A request from the Wareham Garden Club to put signs for the Christmas Eve fair, Saturday, December 1, between 8:30 and 12. And the signs to be located, let's see, event location, the corner of Minot Ave, Indian Neck Road, Center Park, Main Street in front of the Toby Homestead.
Sorry,
You actually came in for this?
I didn't see you, Linda, you didn't have to come in. I'm sorry.
Well,
Usually we just vote these things without
Yeah.
much
The one place,
interaction.
the one place listed Center Park, it's in the historic district, and we don't have permission to have people have signs there. We don't have an authority as well.
What, Town Green?
Center
Center
Park.
Center
Yeah,
Park.
Center Park, actually, there's no signs allowed.
Just so you know.
Yeah.
What you do is go across the street to Wareham Community Television, just tell them you want to put a sign, they can okay it on that side.
Oh, okay.
Okay?
Okay, we need a motion? And,
I made-
Well, actually, that's still our property. We haven't sold it to them, so we'd have to okay that.
It's fine, it's included.
It's included.
I made the motion.
I got a motion. You have a second?
Hey,
Tony?
it's important stuff.
Motion by Patrick, second by
I know,
Tony.
I'm surprised everybody didn't stick around for such a hot issue.
Who knew?
This didn't happen. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 500. If I don't see you guys, have a good Thanksgiving.
All right, thank you very much.
Happy Thanksgiving.
The next I'm going to move to, if you don't mind, before we get to that other thing, is I'm going to move to the renewal, by the way, under the same terms.
For the shelter agreement?
Between
Yes.
between the town of Lakeville and the town of Wareham for the housing of the dogs. I
Cheryl
move,
basically got a hold of us and asked us to go ahead. She approved it.
I move we approve the agreement.
Motion by Patrick, second by Tony. Any questions from the board? None heard, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 500.
It's the same agreement we do every year.
Yep.
Okay, the next, you have down here, discuss discussion and vote on disposition of surplus equipment. I have nothing in the files for that.
I think you need to sign that.
There's nothing here to say what we're dissolving, what our disposition is, so.
Okay.
So we're gonna have to probably pass on that until we get it next time.
Wait till the media's back in for the
Unless I
40B.
just flipped it there.
Yeah, the next would be the discussion and vote on the action against the 40B Dakota Partners project.
Okay, well, we already authorized that.
So we want to ratify it in open session.
Yes.
Okay, I move that we approve the action of the board to be taken against Dakota Partners and the Zoning Board of Appeals for the purposes of the 40B.
Any discussion at all? None heard, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 500.
I'll get right on it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next would be any other town business in the last 48 hours? Anybody?
No, we have the other one for the town administrator's report.
Next would be the town administrator's report, and we have
No town administrator.
no report except that he's asked us to act on the blight and blight study, all right? Designation of Onset Village as a blight area, and he's asked us to act on that. Has everybody seen this?
No.
No.
Well, all right, let's see. Yeah, these are all single.
When did that come in?
Why don't we hand these out?
Thank you.
Hold on, we got it coming.
I know, I just,
He has to get it in
we're
time.
taking 48-hour action, I just want to make sure we're
Yeah,
good on it.
who's over Derek? Derek would have presented it to us.
All right. So,
It has to be submitted, that's why.
Oh, so it's just a vote to authorize the chairman to
That's correct.
submit? That's fine.
all right,
That's valid under 48 hours.
all right, yep, it's just to authorize the chairman to sign it, that's it.
Correct.
All right, does anybody have any questions?
Nope.
No.
All right, I move that we approve this, the study and authorize the chairman to sign it.
Second.
Motion by Patrick, second by Tony, no questions, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 500.
Okay. All right, done. Town administrator's not here, so I guess we'll dispense with the rest of it. Liaison initiatives reports.
Tony? Mary?
No.
Peter?
I'll pass. Are we skipping over announcements, board comments, and citizens'
No.
comments tonight?
We're going to go back over that in a minute. There's a couple things.
So,
I'm not going to do any reports. I've got some stuff, but
my
it's a holiday
liaison.
season,
I've
so...
seen that.
Oh, sorry. Peter had to sign it too fast.
Did, Peter, you have a liaison? Report?
Um,
No?
Redevelopment Authority is very busy.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, my turn, then you're last. Okay, so I just want to thank the community and the citizens for their great show out there for the support of the school project. I know sometimes these projects are difficult, and you make the difficult decisions financially in order to make these things happen. But I can tell you this, that for the long-term health of the community, this is definitely going to be better. This is an important step in Wareham's direction. We've done a lot of work up here to try to get Wareham on track, and I think we've done a heck of a job. Everyone up here, the town administrator, and all the folks that have helped along the way have done a terrific job. And I want to thank those who have worked hard on my school building committee to make this happen. And they deserve a great deal of credit for getting this step done for the town of Wareham. And that's all I really have to say tonight.
What I've got here is on the 29th of November at 6:30 at the Wareham Middle School Auditorium. There's going to be a meeting from the school committee on the fiscal year 20 budget presentation. The board is invited to go. I'll post the meeting as well, since we'll probably have more than 3. It's important that we're there for a couple reasons. One is the $2.1 million that they want to increase in the budget for next year, which should be interesting to listen to. The other piece, too, is that, I'm not sure if we all remember, but one selectman is supposed to be represented when the school does labor negotiations, and we have a vote.
Yeah.
I don't remember the school department ever contacting us to let us know when that's happening.
That's interesting because, you know, as you know, I've been filling in that since Judy left, so
Correct.
I will ask and find out what's going on in that respect.
'Cause
I do go to their meetings on occasion when they, especially when they ask, and sometimes they do.
Yeah.
So I will venture out and find out what's going on.
It'd be a good idea, because it's,
Yep.
I think on the Mass General Law, whatever.
Oh, yeah,
we have that
absolutely,
one
yeah. We
piece.
have a seat on the committee, yes.
Yes.
We get outvote quite often, but
Yeah,
we do have a seat.
Yeah, well, no, we have one vote. Okay. Anybody else have? any comments?
1-7, a little typical.
Comments? No, I have an announcement.
Go ahead.
The Wareham Garden Club Christmas Fair is Saturday, December 1st, and we're opening at 8:30, so cookies and decorations and,
Sandy making cookies again?
oh yeah.
Oh, jeez. You get fat again. Peter, you have anything?
Again.
Announcements, anything?
I just wanted to comment briefly on what happened over the weekend with the 2 unfortunate people being run over by the train. Obviously, there's a lot of information that nobody knows yet. There's an investigation being conducted by the Plymouth County District Attorney. But I wanted to thank the first responders from the town of Wareham, the state police, and the district attorney's office for going out there and dealing with what had to have been an extremely unpleasant scene to try to recover these people, to try to document what they saw. And I'm sure it was extremely challenging and trying for them. And I'd also like everybody, you know, to step back and think, you know, I see comments on some of the blogs and on Facebook and this, that, and the other thing. You know, before you condemn people, and it's easy to do so in certain circumstances, you know, step back and think if this were your brother or your child or something like that before you post things that are inflammatory. You know, regardless of how their lives were lived, they deserve to pass with some dignity.
The Christmas parade for the town of Wareham will be December 1st, I believe, at 3 o'clock. The board has all been invited by the Village Association to participate,
We need to buy some candy.
by a lot of candy.
I hate the candy throwing.
We can't, they banned us from it because Whiteside's arm was so weak that she was like getting the children almost run over.
I didn't throw candy. I went and picked it up the next day.
No, if you're gonna throw candy, you have to walk alongside.
I
Side of
was
the-
Mrs. Claus. I walked in front of you guys.
Yeah, but
You did?
She was, yeah.
she did.
I thought she was throwing candy.
No,
So in between trying not to run over kids and trying not to run over her, it wasn't a lot of fun the year I did it.
So you telling me Jim is Santa Claus?
No, I don't know who was Santa Claus that year.
me neither. The other piece is, as everybody knows, the retail marijuana, we have 2 facilities, one in the western part of the state and one by Worcester, which opened up today to large crowds. Our retail facility was thinking about opening December 1st. They're actually going to open December 3rd, I believe, as of right now, because of the parade and a few other things going on. The issue we have is we're really concerned about the traffic and what it's going to do when they open up on that day. Our acting police chief is actually going to, like I said, tomorrow, to sit down with the police chief there to see how things work and how to handle it. Everybody has to understand we will be the 3rd retail facility, which means we can drive from Boston all the way down through the Cape and quite a ways around. So it's a huge population base that we may have. And the chief is extremely concerned about gridlock in the town of Wareham, expecting possibly 1,000 people to show up very early. So they're trying to figure out where they're going to park them and how they're going to get transported from one place to the other.
Have we
Well,
heard
just-
anything about the traffic and the ones that opened today? Was there?
Yeah, there's heavy traffic.
Was it heavy, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, they actually set up a system for one of them where they were gonna do shuttle buses, and I think actually there's been some discussion. I know that, no, seriously, there's been some discussion about, the one on Main Street is actually interested in possibly using Tremont Nail as a parking facility and shuttle people back and forth.
We have Tremont Nail, we have the minor
Seriously.
school, and we also have possibly them
Becomes more
reaching out
relevant
to
every day.
AD Makepeace to see if they can work something out with them as well.
Yeah, I don't see them doing that, but I would think, you know,
I think it's great.
make spaces available so that we don't have traffic and gridlock.
Well, we can't because of the hospital, so their facility is right by the entrance to the emergency room, so it's a serious issue. So we'll keep everybody appraised as we go along, but that's officially going to be the 3rd as of right now.
Yep.
That's it for me.
Okay. All right, so let's move on to consent agenda. We have, oh, look at this, a bill. Let's see. I move we approve the bill for law offices of of Shard Bowen.
Shard Bowen.
I think that's Mad Dog.
Shard Bowen. Richard?
Shard Bowen.
Richard?
That's an inside joke, I
Richard.
guess.
Is that a French name?
Otherwise known as Mad Dog. If we approve for professional services through 11/20/18.
Have a motion, need a second?
Second.
Motion by Patrick, second by Mary. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, abstained, 500.
Motion to adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Good night, Wareham. Have a good
Good night.
Thanksgiving. Please be safe. The weather's going to be terrible on Thursday, 20 to 22 degrees in the area.